Hello, everybody. Welcome to Reality Realness with three S's. I'm Lindsay, and this is my co-host, Nick. We are here to talk about uh,
Lots of things.
a lot of things, yes, but specifically Big Brother Cheesecake 5 All-Stars. And we are here with our latest evictee, although potential to get back in because of the battle back that happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, Aton, hi.
Hi. Happy to be here.
Good. Me too. We're happy. I was looking forward to this one specifically just because I know you so well, and I wanted to hear the game and what's going on from your point of view.
Yeah,
because I was really rooting for you, but
well, I was the first draft pick.
First pick.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I'm honored that I was the first draft pick and your first draft pick. And just in case anybody was wondering, Lindsay, she was right. She wasn't lying. Lindsay and I do not know each other. We've never spoken, and so.
No, but Krista and I have decided that the three of us need to be best friends.
Done. Done. I'm leaving this game with less friends than I thought I was going to. So you're on the list. Here's a room.
Yay. All right. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what happened this week, or
why are you here right now?
Yeah. Why are you here?
This week was a fucking doozy. Nicole. So Curtis originally won the HOH, and then Rhonda used the emerald. I think she should have saved it for a veto. Personally, I thought it was rather foolish using it for an HOH, but whatever. Just because it went to somebody different, but it didn't change the results in any way. But anyway, it went to Nicole. Nicole and I had formed a really, from what I thought, a great alliance. Our personality-wise, we gelled really, really well together. And the thing is that when Nicole was on the block with Chantel, I could at this point, it's a known fact. I am good friends with Chantel, and I'm good friends with JoJo, and I got his permission to say that before this interview. So I'm good friends with the both of them, and I told them as this game started and throughout the game, I will never fuck over my friends for strangers over the internet, and for cheesecake, or even because there is a prize money, but I'm not going to do that to my real friends. And so when Chantel was on the block with Nicole, I'd really gotten along with her. I gelled well with everybody from season 3. And so, but I told her, I was like, listen, Chantel's my friend. Like, I really like you, but I have to vote for you. And she was very understanding. She's like, I totally get it. You're friends with Chantel, but I really appreciate the honesty. No worries. And then I knew Chantel was going to go that week anyway, just because everybody was telling me that they were going to vote her out. And so after the vote, and after Nicole stayed, and after everybody knew that I voted for her, I checked in with her. I patched things up. She totally understood anyway where I was coming from. And I was like, now that the entire house knows that I was one of the people that voted you out, let's work together. Let's have an alliance together. And she was like, brilliant. No one will see it coming. Let's do this. So when she got the HOH, I knew that at that point, after the double, so Kat and Chad had left, so there were very few pawns left to put up. She was pretty short on options, so I knew that it was an option for her to put me up. But after she had won, basically immediately, I messaged her saying, "Hey, congratulations!" And she's like, "Woo!" And I said, "Please don't put me up." And her response it was 3 laughing emojis, and then and "you're good" was her response. Now, the way I understand those 2 words together, I would not use those words for somebody that I was going to put up the next day.
Fair.
Yeah.
Now, maybe she was loopholing me. I didn't say I'm not putting you up. I just said you're good.
Maybe it was like, you're good at the game, so I'm nominating you in Evicted.
Sorry, I don't mean that. But she said you're good, and then put me up the next day. So that was cute. And then she was like, "I'm so sorry. I really you're so funny, and I like you so much. I've got to put you up. I really want to put up Curtis, but I feel like Brazil will be really mad at me. So Oops. I'm really sorry, but I'm putting you up with Rhonda, and you'll be totally fine. Everybody wants her out. Everybody's been wanting her out for weeks. Everybody loves you. You'll be totally fine. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I was put up the next day with Rhonda, and I was like, I know that she has the poo veto, and it will be very tempting for people to want to keep her because she is ineligible to win anything, and she's got to be up on the block next week. Mm-hmm. I get that, but I trusted the fact that I had made strong connections with Curtis, with almost everybody voting. With 4 out of 5 voters, I felt that I'd made a good connection with them. And this was before the veto, but after I was put up with Rhonda, I reached out to all 5 people voting, and I had a feeling that noms were going to stay the same, just with who was picked and just how the dynamics of the game at that point. I had a very strong feeling that it wasn't that the veto was not going to be used, and me and Rhonda were going to stay on the block. And so I reached out to all 5 voters, and all 5 of them told me I'm voting out Rhonda.
Like right after the veto was won, or like what was the timeline on that?
Let me think. I got 4 pre-veto.
Okay.
And then the last one right after the veto. And I think even one reconfirmed with me that Curtis was going to re-vote out Rhonda. So I was like, okay, that's good. Literally all 5 people voting told me that they're gonna vote to keep me. So I was like, okay, legit, cool. I don't lie to people, and at that point, the only person to have lied to me, like bold-faced lied to me, was Kat. We can get to that later, but
yes.
And so I had gone to bat for all of these people. I had gone to bat for Curtis. He was on the block the last 3 weeks in a row, and I voted to keep him every single time. And he talked to me. He's like, I'm so appreciative of that. Like, trust me. Like if the tables are turned, like I'll repay the favor. Like we're good. I trust you. So I was like, all right, well, like maybe it's naive of me, but I take what people say as like for what they say.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the vote?
It was 3-2.
Very close.
Okay.
Yes.
So, do you know who lied?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as we got closer to the voting day, 2 of them reached out to me, Jonathan and Curtis. Curtis first, and then Jonathan, saying, the tone of it was so funny because they came to me and they were like, "Hey, like, I'm so sorry, but like, I just want to be honest with you. It's like I feel like I owe you some honesty, and so I'm just gonna be honest with you, and I'm actually gonna vote you out." And I was like, okay, I guess we all share very different what's the word? Very different meanings of the word honesty.
I'd rather you lie to me and do the first thing you said, voting to keep me. Just keep lying to me, but vote to keep me.
That's the thing. You don't have to. It was so unnecessary. You could have just done the wishy-washy thing that I did for weeks of just like, ooh, like I have to think about it. Like I'm like, ooh, it's a really tough decision. Like let me get back to you. Like you don't have to say, yes, I will vote to keep you, and then don't. Because all that does is further stab the dagger deeper into my back. It's unnecessary. But people play the game that way. I don't, but you know.
Yeah.
Where was I? Oh yeah, and then the third person, Brazil, never even bothered didn't feel the need to come to me and tell me that she was going back on her word. It's cool. Of the 3 of them, I spoke to her least. So I don't know, whatever.
It's getting later in the game where you have to pull those, like, even if you're good with someone, you're going to vote them out and all those kinds of, and maybe you have stronger alliances. But still, I think the main thing here was you just wished they didn't lead you along a path of safety, like, unnecessarily, right?
Totally. And like, I get it. I get why. I don't think it was a dumb move. But just the way it was done, I thought was needlessly cruel.
Right.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
Well, I was just going to say, I know we talked a little bit before the episode that you wanted to talk about your strategy coming into the game, and
Yeah,
maybe we'll start from the beginning and kind of work our way back to this week again.
Absolutely. Because I feel like a lot of people outside of, on the outside of the Reality Realness Alliance, for the record, I wouldn't classify myself as in the Reality Realness Alliance. I don't know. I'm friends with Chantel and JoJo, and I guess I'm in the scope. I don't know, whatever. But I feel like for everyone outside of that, they were like, what the hell is this guy doing? And like he's on the outs. Like, why is he helping these people? What's the deal with this guy? So I really want to illuminate my strategy for those that are utterly confused and think I'm an idiot.
All right, let's hear it.
So, you might have heard Andrew talk about Backyard Big Brother. It's not an org because it's done in person, but it's a Big Brother game played over a weekend. That was started by myself and my fiance Kevin. We've done it for 3 or 4 years now. We've done 10 seasons, 2 seasons of The Mole as well. And so, and I've played on Backyard Big Brother 3 times. I've come in second twice, and then my 3rd season I won. My 2nd season was All Stars with Nick and Chantel. Chantel came in 3rd, and I came in 2nd, and Nick won. So this is not my first time at the rodeo or my first time at the All Stars rodeo either. And like I said, my 3rd season I won, so I'm not incompetent. Anyway, along with that, oh yes. So going into it, I wanted to cover all of my bases, and I'd learned from the part of the reason why I lost All Stars was because in the Backyard Big Brother cinematic universe, I'm an A-tier player and a comp beast. When it's just the facts. When the comps on Backyard Big Brother, they are skill based. They test your intelligence, hand-eye coordination, athleticism, memory, recognition, like your actual physical and mental intelligence are tested with our comps because tons of them are based off of ones done on the real show. We have OTEV, we have endurance comps, all that fun stuff. And I'm good at that shit. I'm a comp beast. I'm not a luck beast. When it comes to the spin of a wheel or picking a random number from 1 to 50 and seeing what dollar amount is behind it, or guessing how many marshmallows Andrew can balance on the top of his head, not my bag. So I wanted to go into it with a different strategy. Oh yeah, I lost All Stars because I'd won a fuck ton of comps and pissed off the entire jury and want to vote for me. So going into this version of All Stars, I decided to take advantage of the fact that I had my allies with Reality Realness. With Nick and the only people I knew going into the game were JoJo and Chantel, but I knew that they had other connections, so I thought they could connect me with those connections and I'd be good with them. On the flip side, everybody else had no idea who the fuck I was. I was just some random guy from season 1 who didn't even do that well, and I wanted to take advantage of that. So while I was good with season 3 and about half of season 4, I wanted to I then made social connections with everyone else, people from season 2 who had no idea who I was and I didn't know them. Ryan and Kat, I messaged them and became friends with them. So my strategy was, because I could not count on my skills to win these competitions, especially so Backyard Big Brother is 2 days. So that's a sprint. This is 100 days. It's 5 marathons and a fucking Ironman competition. So I wanted to pace myself. So yes, I threw every competition I participated in up until jury, because if somebody from Reality Realness won HOH, I was chilling. If somebody outside of Reality Realness won HOH, I was fine. When Chanel, when Joanne, when Rhonda won HOH, they didn't touch me because I had made connections with them. Mm-hmm. So, and my strategy, and I was laying low, and Chanel talked mad shit about me, saying he doesn't know what he's doing. He's playing so hesitant. He's the worst player I've ever seen. She's been out for how many weeks now? 4, 5? Didn't make jury? So, sorry, I'm really sorry. I'm not used to people criticizing my game like that. It's all good, but it pissed me off. It pissed me off when she came for me like that. And I don't blame her because yes, I was putting on this. This air of like I don't know what I'm doing. So I get it, but that was my strategy. I didn't want to seem like a threat, and the fact it was backed up by the fact that I didn't touch the block until day 60. And that was without the guaranteed immunity of winning a competition. And I am the second last house guest of the entire cast to ever touch the block. So I'm out. I'm half out, but like it got me somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I think you touched on it well. Like the competitions that we have played together, and like you can have a lot more control, I guess. And they're done like right in the minute, real quick, like snap decisions. On these ones, there's a lot of collaboration or luck or
cheating.
internet involved or cheating, sure, maybe. But
there was I checked this with Andrew, and according to him, it's not cheating. But there was a plan for 2 people to cheat during the endurance comp.
Oh, okay.
Somebody told me about that, and I was like, "Hey, Andrew," I didn't mention names about it. But I was like, hey, Andrew, somebody told me that they planned on signing on to somebody else's Facebook account while they slept to play the game for them. Is that
okay?
Huh?
Is this okay? No.
Is that bullshit? Like, and I didn't mention names. But he was like, technically, it's not against the rules because I didn't tell them it's against the rules, and there's no way I could monitor that anyway. And I agree with the second point. There is no way you could monitor that anyway. But that's fucking bullshit.
The endurance is endurance. That's the point, right? Like Nick had commented that like you could maybe, if you're allied with enough people, you could maybe pass it off in a way that you can get a couple of hours sleep.
Sure. That's teamwork. But literally to go to sleep and have somebody play the game for you, it completely defeats the purpose. So where was I going with that? Anyway, whatever.
No, I was just saying like that playing this or that game versus the ones that we've played, like Backyard, you can't rely on the comp wins. You do have to rely a lot more on your social game. And I think, every time I saw a new HOH get power, I'm like, I don't think they're going to nominate A10. I was like, I know that you're good at the game because I've only ever seen you do crazy well. So I knew I'm like, you're doing something to keep that safety. But I didn't know if you wanted to start winning comps sooner than later. And the virus one was the main moment where I was like, oh, okay, what's his game? I really wanted to talk.
Yeah, the virus one I'd like to talk more about. Like I'm curious.
I'd love to. There. So, and that's the thing. I had made it all the way to 3rd place, I believe, in the virus comp because
Jonathan wants you to name names.
I think I've already done that.
Naming a lot of names, Jonathan.
And that's the thing. Like it's all with love now. You're lucky that this interview was not a few days ago because I was really upset, and frankly, I was hurt with all of the lying. So I've had some days to sit with it, and I won the duel last night. So that really helped a lot. Because I did better than Chad, although our relationship has come leaps and bounds. And just like I have now officially done better than my placement on season 1, and so like that's a big thing for me. So anyway, so I'm feeling much better now. But so the virus comp, I made it all the way to 3rd. Like I had made top 3, and everybody wanted me to win that competition because, like I'd said, I'd made connections with literally almost everybody in the house. So the anti-reality realness group was eliminating all the reality realness group, and the reality realness group was retaliating and eliminating all of the like people from season 2 that were outwardly gunning for them. Meanwhile, I was chilling in the background, making it all the way to the top 3. And that's the thing. So Joanne or Dylan, I don't know. I don't remember how it worked, but I was well on my way to winning that one. And I felt like it was too soon for me to show my cards because everybody from season 2 and Kat were going to put pressure on me to put up Chantel and JoJo. And at that point, Chanel hadn't spilled the beans on me knowing Chantel or these people. So I felt like it was too soon for me to show my hands. They would have put a lot of pressure on me to go after reality realness, and they would have been very confused as to why I wasn't going to do that. So it was too soon for me. So I, like, in the back, while Curtis or whatever, Curtis had to decide who to win, or between me and Kat or something like that. I was like begging him, like, don't give it to me. I don't want it. But I made sure first with Kat, like, I wasn't going to throw my friends under the bus, because I knew that Kat, it certainly wasn't out of the question for her to go after my friends.
Yeah.
So I was talking to her, and I was like, and she was like, please, I want it so badly. I want this HOH so badly. And I was like, well, what are you going to do? And she was like, whatever you want me to do. And I was like, and I was like, I know. And I was like, well, at that point, I had literally said one word to Rhonda the entire game, and Chad and I were not on speaking terms yet. We hadn't patched things up. So I was like, put up Chad and Rhonda. And Curtis, who I was talking to, had also told me that Kat told him that she was going to put up Chad and Rhonda, and she promised the two of us this. And so I wasn't going to let her have that HOH unless she promised me that she was going to do something that I would be okay with. And she said, I'm going to put up Chad. She told me I'm going to put up Chad, and she told Curtis I'm going to put up Chad and Rhonda. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take her word for it because I don't know her, and I'm going to assume that she's going to tell me the truth. And boop, no. So I was like, okay, cool. And afterwards she was like, you know, like, she was like, can you blame me? Like, I had to do, like, I had to make a move. And I was like,
yeah,
you
lying.
Had to. So was that the big lie that she told that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, that was it. That was it. And just like leading up to that, like, I really enjoyed Kat as a person, and I've told her that, and I think she's lovely, intelligent. Like, I have nothing but nice things to say about Kat as a person. Within the scope of the game, I was done with her. So the minute that she was, so when she was up for the double, it couldn't have been an easier decision.
Right, of who to vote out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
You've given us a lot of information already.
I know. So,
I know.
Like, I figured that if, like, the reason why in the end Curtis gave it to Kat is because, and she admitted it was a huge lie. And I was like, okay, I figured you were tied into that some way, but I didn't know for sure. So I didn't know, like, you could have probably assumed who Kat's targets would be. But if they're your friends, why would you say I don't want it? And then it's because you got lied to as well.
It's because I got lied to. And I told Chantel and Jonathan right after I dropped and let Kat win that. Hey, like, maybe you're nervous, but Kat promised me she's going to put up Chad and Rhonda.
Mm-hmm.
And Chantel wanted to play it cool, and it was like, okay,
sure.
Okay. But like, I had nothing to do with that. And that's that was the other thing. I know, like, I can't pin me feeling super guilty and feeling like shit about that on Kat because she was just playing the game and she might not have known. But like, it really made me feel like a piece of garbage. So that's enough. Like, I felt so bad about that, and I was elated back in the game. Yeah. So again, like I can't pin my bad feelings on Kat for that. She was just playing the game. So
yeah,
all good.
That's fair. It's a good way to look at it. You were just, I think, an accessory in her master scheme to target who she thinks is big players. And I mean, she played it well in that respect, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. So, no, go ahead, Lindsay.
No, I took the last question, so you go.
Well, I was still kind of formulating my question as I said so please, by all means.
Well, then I was curious, bringing it back to this week now, when Curtis originally won the HOH. Do you think that if that had stayed, like if Curtis had been HOH, do you think things would have been any different for you?
It's a good question. When Curtis spoke to me, he was like, if I, he fed me, I was spoon-fed so much horse shit this week. I can't, I don't know up from down anymore. Yeah, Curtis messaged me like, if this were my call, it wouldn't be you. And I was like, then you should have fucking voted out Rhonda. Like, you told me you were going to twice. So I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. He told me that if he were HOH, I would have been safe. I don't know. I don't know if that were going to be true.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's true anymore.
And you said about the Emerald veto, like we're talking about that now. If she would have used it for the veto competition and still let Curtis win HOH, I just think, as you mentioned that, I think it's because if Curtis is HOH, he can't go, and I think that was the whole point of basically negating his safety as opposed to negating his say in the game, just his safety. It could have been just something about that.
But like if she saved it for the veto, Brazil won the veto, and she wasn't on the block, so Rhonda could have used it then, and she would have had a better chance at it landing at the veto landing in her lap.
Yeah, it would have been one out of 6 because it's just a redraw within the veto players. I feel, right?
Instead of like 1 out of 7 or 8 or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. It was all like the odds were against her regardless, but I feel like she should have held on to it until the veto. But just
to Nick's point, then Curtis absolutely would have been safe still, right? And I think Curtis is kind of her target.
Well, yeah. I think that's probably it. I mean, she nominated him, so I'm assuming.
Yeah. So, I just wanted, I've been far less bitter and mouthy than I was planning to be a day or two ago. But I just want to say, it's good to everyone. To everyone still in the game, it's good.
I think this was the bloodbath that Lindsay and I were expecting / hoping for, just because we know these are big personalities and big players in their respective seasons, and we're especially getting to that point where these are most of the smooth talking alliance makers that we know to be good at this game, and you have to start bouncing checks at some point. And I think your main problem was why write those checks? They didn't even need to be. Just tell me I'm going. Like, it's fine. Yeah. I'll deal with it. Or
exactly.
Maybe they wanted you to throw a veto, or like maybe not just have that fire under you. I don't know what it could have been.
I will own up to the fact that my competitive edge, my competitive it has been dulled over the 2 months of playing this exhausting, paranoid-inducing, emotionally traumatizing game.
It's that we love so much.
I'm not used to playing Big Brother for more than 2 days.
Yeah.
It has been 66 days.
It's a long run.
Yeah. And we still cry at the end of those 2 days. Yeah.
Nick. By the way, E for Evicted.
Oh, that's good.
Love it.
Oh man, but you're not out of the game yet. You only have one more duel to get back in. You'll be in top 7 when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then, do you think you'll have a good chance? Do you think you can kind of do what Chantel did and come back in and navigate? I know that was comp wins helped as well, but do you think you'll have that? Will the house band together and get rid of you, or do you think that you can weasel? You have still some connections.
It all depends on who's in power. I don't think I'd be an immediate write-off to get voted out by everybody in the house. There's certainly people that would want to keep me, and frankly, maybe I've that's the thing. I decided to just be fucking honest about everything because there's no guarantee that I will come back, and this could be my last interview. So I just wanted to put it out all out on the table. I don't know. I don't know if I were to make final. I don't know if I have a shot, even if I do make it to the end. I do think I certainly could have played a little bit harder, a little bit more aggressive. But like I said, I wanted to pace myself, and it's all about when you pull the trigger. But it all depends, and it all depends on the literal spin of the wheel sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you feel about the Redemple Temple? Yeah, duel. I think I got those words right.
Uno momento. So, I have been one of the people criticizing it because Kevin and I. By the way, Kevin, come on, get over here. But by the way, so since I run my own Big Brother game, I was one of the people who would state my opinions and concerns to Andrew every now and then about how he runs his game, and sometimes it was rather uncalled for, but But it's very disheartening, and you feel very helpless when the game that, like, when you're up against the wall and you need to win this comp, and it's Deal or No Deal or a fucking Price is Right wheel spin, and it's like, great. Now there's literally, I can't prepare, I can't study, there's literally nothing I can do except for pray to God that I pick a lucky number. So when Andrew
spin that wheel.
So when Andrew said that the duel was going to be Deal or No Deal, I wanted to drink Drano. But then he immediately said that he changed a lot of the rules, and it's going to be it's all about getting to closest to 100,000, and he made all of these rule changes so that it's going to be much more about strategy than it is about luck.
And you found it.
Complain. I won.
Yeah.
I won with an offer of exactly $100,000.
What?
Yeah. It was
awesome.
So, like, I really am in no position to complain about the results of this Redemple Temple duel. But when we plan our comps on Backyard Big Brother, we start with every comp with, what comp does this test?
Yeah.
Is this a mental comp? Is it a physical comp? Is it a memory comp, a hand-eye coordination comp, a stamina comp? What is this going to test in our players? And I really wish Andrew would adapt that strategy with these competitions, because everyone's been saying it. He's heard it, that it's really annoying that so many of these comps.
Thanks, Bizzell.
Love you. And so it's frustrating when all of these comps, there's so much out of your control, and you feel so powerless, especially when it's a duel. So I really hope, I could be kicking myself in this, because there's, even if it is something to test my skill or intelligence or whatever next week, doesn't mean I'm gonna win. So, but at least I'll be able to leave the game knowing that it was something in my control and I fucked up, as opposed to, guess I should have picked case number 32, like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So my next question is for Kevin, since he's here with us right now. How is it?
This is Julie One, aka Kevin.
Well, we haven't had a partner on the show, so like, how has it been being the partner of someone who is playing this game?
It's been tough sometimes, just because, like, and that's the thing. With the 2-day Big Brother that we do, there's been, obviously, every time Eitan has played, except for season 1. Season 1, I didn't think he was very good, and so I was not that protective of him. But, like, on All-Stars, and even in the season he won, I obviously, regardless of being the host and being impartial, feel a specific type of, protection towards him. So watching your guys' interviews, like, with Chanel being like, Eitan doesn't know what he's doing, he's a terrible player. And I will just infer from last week that Kat was saying, there's some crap players still in the game. I was like, I'm pretty sure one of them, she was referring to Eitan. So it's tough, but we sort of talked about it, and we knew that whenever this moment would come, that he could tell his side of the story and explain his strategy. Because it's so subjective. You don't know what someone else's sort of strategy is until you hear it. But at the same time, like, there'd be days where I would come home from work and he would just be shattered, just because, like, there was those 3 weeks in the middle, like the virus comp. I think a large part of the reason why you also didn't want to show your cards with Reality Realness was because Chad had just called your ass out the week before. Yeah. So it was like the week Chad called him out, then there was Kat lying to him, and then the week after, and then even the weeks where Joanne and Rhonda won HOH, before they gave him the confirmation that he was safe, because he thought that he didn't have a relationship with either of them. He didn't know whether or not that they were going to target him or this or that. It was just like, you could just tell, and he just sits there, and it's just this sort of, especially it being on the phone, it's such an internalized feeling. Like, he's sitting there staring at the phone, and with this like energy and aura around him that's negative and like kind of bothered. So it's hard to watch it from that sort of angle, and to not, like, in yourself want to lash out at the people who were doing it to him, kind of thing. Especially this last week, because obviously we've sat around and talked about it in the early stages, where it was like, oh, I got a confirmation from all 5 people. They're going to vote to keep me. And so me, having done 10 seasons of hosting, I'm like, it would just be weird if like literally more than half of them were lying to you. That's just crazy. Like, we've had liars on Backyard Big Brother, but I'm like, in a situation where 5 people are voting and 3 of them just up and flip kind of out of nowhere, especially, just like you said, with how much you went to bat for Curtis, it doesn't make sense that he would flip. And then same with Jonathan, the fact that like he's with, like, it's like that reality realness thing or the season 3 alliance. It is just weird to me that you would throw away that relationship with you, a jury member, when you're going to keep Rhonda in the game, who's gone after Jonathan, there's some weird thing with Brazil and Rhonda because of the endurance competition. It's funny because nothing's come to light in the live chats or anything like that or the live feeds. But like the fact that they were just throwing it back and forth to each other, I'm like, okay, there's something there that's like off.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, for during the endurance comp, it literally for like 4.5 hours, Rhonda and Brazil would just pass it back and forth to each other. I went for a walk around the neighborhood, looked at my phone, and it was just 85 messages of Brazil and Rhonda passing the potato back and forth to each other. And I was like, okay, cool.
Maybe they made a deal just to let everyone get some sleep, and then
very thoughtful. Very thoughtful. Immediately feel bad. Like, Chanel, I doubt you're watching because you don't give a fuck about me. But if you are watching, sorry about that middle finger. I didn't mean it.
So polite.
To go on with what you were saying.
And I don't like talking, like, I don't like when people talk shit about me and tell me that I'm a shit player or a bad person or this and that. Like, I play with my heart and I care about, like, I think people saw, like, everybody in the game, I don't know about anymore, but before this, everybody talked about how much they liked me as a person. And I know that doesn't make, like, caring about what people think about you and caring about, like, honesty and integrity, probably doesn't make for a great Big Brother player. But, like, I'm proud of the way that I conducted myself, like, during the game.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, yeah, so, like, I apologize, Chanel, about that middle finger. I didn't mean it. And you were hella condescending towards me. While speaking to me and in your interview, but it's all good. I just want us all, like, I literally just want us all to get along. Really, truly. So, yeah.
Good. Me too. I was gonna say to your point, Kevin, of just like seeing him on his phone and like that, it's so prolonged too, because it's not just like, oh yeah, okay, then we'll put it down. At like, no, you're on your phone the whole time, and you're am I still good? You're strategizing, and it doesn't stop. And you wake up, what's the first thing you do? You see your messages. Like, I know Guy said, like, I couldn't play again. Like, he basically was just like, it's too much. Like, it was too much for him. And he would always talk and strategize with me, but he's like, it's too much. And I get it.
And that was the thing. Like, Aton played season 1 of this. And I remember so vividly the first hot potato competition. And we were at my dad's house in the middle of nowhere with like crappy internet. And him doing it until like 1 a.m. and just being miserable about the whole thing. And coming away from that experience from season 1, just being like, these people were terrible. Like, they were so mean and rude, and I would never do this again.
Psychos on season 1. Psychos. And Chad and Charlene weren't even the worst of it.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know if we had that experience in season 4.
No.
If anything, everyone thought that like Nick, Brazil, and I were awful, but that was just because we loved each other so much.
Yeah.
Nick is awful.
I find being called awful as long as I do well. But like, if you're gonna call me awful and be right about it, well, then I'll be like, well, crap. I was gonna say something else, but if you have something, Lindsay, go ahead. I lost my train of thought.
No, I think I'd be curious to know about oh, no, go.
It's back. Just to talk about what we were talking about before when you were saying about the competitions and like comparing between seasons of that or platforms, I guess. To be fair, Andrew is working online and like what you can do on the thing. So I think while it is very innovative, and sometimes I'm like, whoa, I didn't even think of that as an outlet. Or when I didn't even know about this until I knew Chantal was doing season 3. I'm like, how does it come up with comps if it's just on Messenger? It makes no sense to me.
It's true. Like, there are some great comps. Like this last HOH was the face morph comp.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But
yeah,
it's just like, you can do quizzes. We haven't had one true or false, A or B, before or after kind of quiz. And those are, you can do those online.
Yeah, I predict OTEV is coming soon because it's the time. But I also agree. I mean, he gave the disclaimer that it was going to be all game show themed because that's a huge thing that he loves. But I think as soon as you scrap the theme, you can maybe change it up a little bit in some ways, or maybe do a few game shows. But there has been a lot. I will agree with that.
Oh, and another Aton kind of like apology. I want to say to Andrew, like, I'm sorry, like, I'm critical sometimes because we do our own as well. And sometimes I give him a lot of flack. I also give him a lot of fucking flack about him saying things that he shouldn't, because production should be impartial. And sometimes he says way too much. Sorry. He
is the 17th house guest. He's the 17th house guest, and we all know it now. But yeah.
Saying things anyway. But like, all that being said, I gave him a lot of crap, and but I do want to apologize for that and say that like none of this could be possible without him manning the show and doing it all by himself for 100 days. So like, he puts an astounding amount of effort into the game, and we wouldn't all be doing this without the amount of effort and dedication that he puts into it. So Andrew, thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good. I always say how amazing he is at it, but when you're in it, you're also still frustrated as hell when something you can't control, or luck, or my moment. I don't know if you watched season 4 at all, but like it was the final HOH competition. It was like, well, is it A or B between this? And it was like, CJ says it's B when Rai said that. I'm like, it would never be that. She's never called him Rai, but Andrew calls him Rai. So I picked the wrong answer based off that kind of like outside thinking kind of thing.
Verbiage, the vernacular, the word.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm also coming from that like structured comp building kind of thing, So yeah, that was my one criticism, and I made sure I'd let him know about it. But it's so fun. It's so fun.
Fun. Sometimes.
Okay.
That's the thing. Like this was like week 5 or something, which was in like the pit of my week 4, 5, and 6. I was literally miserable for 21 days. There were I couldn't remember the last time I was enjoying the game, and that it was like during that pit of awfulness that Marcin came to visit the house, and in the group chat, and he was like, "Hey guys, it's Marcin. How's everyone doing? Is everyone having a great time?" and Joanne and Kat and Chantel in Brazil were like, "Yeah, best time ever!" And I was like, "Who are these people? I like this?" But
oh, that's funny.
Marcin's a good man. Well, okay. Well, I will say 2 things. I want to get to. I'll do the list last. But what would you say would be your biggest regret this season so far?
Biggest regret.
Hi, Brazil.
Hi, Brazil.
I don't know.
Could it be not making connections with certain people? I don't think the virus throwing was a comp or a regret, because you believed Kat. You were like, this is going to be good.
I guess I shouldn't have believed her, but I also didn't want HOH. And
so live with no regrets.
Yeah.
That's an answer you can give to him.
No, I mean, maybe my regret is I know I could have played harder. I could have been more aggressive, could have played harder. But I was fucking exhausted emotionally and physically from this game. So
yeah.
I could have played harder.
Well, you still might get that chance, and you can show them all what you're made of. Because when Lindsay picked you as the first pick, I was like, "Yep, solid, good, that is right." And I don't even think Lindsay knew what she was doing, because we didn't discuss too much about the players. But when she picked you first, I was just like, "Okay, I think that's gonna work out for her."
First, because I saw that you guys were friends, and I didn't want Nick picking you before me. It was one of my main reasons, because I was
he would have been on my team for sure.
Well, Lindsay, let's be friends. You seem like you're a cool girl, so let's be friends.
But also, I saw your baking, and I was like, I need him to bake for me one day. So.
Well, can we see you on Backyard Big Brother one of these days?
Andrew's actually been trying to get me to sign up for a couple of years now, so I think it's gonna happen.
You'd
now that
crush
I
it.
know you guys.
You would do well for sure.
I don't know. I see. This is new to me because I'm not used to being the person who makes like a good first impression. So I think that I would do really badly on these games, and like that's not coming from nowhere. Like everybody that understood the game, that knew that I was playing Andrews, was like, "Oh, she's gonna be out like first." And like you saw Tiffany came on, like Krista had commented, I don't know, there were a few others that Andrew had mentioned that said like, yeah, we expected Lindsay to be off way earlier. When Megan got interviewed, she was like, yeah, I thought I was going to last longer than Lindsay. Like,
it was something like week 8, or you were going to get, and best you could get is 8th place. I remember the number 8 around your name for some reason, but yeah, no, while I connected with so strongly with you is even before we were put on the same department, it's just that you came to me with thoughts and insights on the game that I was like, oh, maybe I'll find out if they're true. And they just kept coming out to be true. So I was like, okay, she's honest with me. I'm going to trust her and work with her. And like your honesty and that bluntness that you talk about, I think serves you well in this kind of game. So I think it is a strength for sure.
All right, let's do the list now.
Yes. So speaking of the draft picks, Lindsay still has Eitan, Curtis, Rhonda, Nicole, and I have Jonathan, Brazil, Chantel, and JoJo. Who
Team
is
Nick.
winning this?
Team Nick.
Really?
Yeah, I'm on Lindsay's team, but it's Team Nick.
Unless you come back, of course.
Of course, unless I win the duel and come back to the game and win every HOH coming, like, starting now.
Well, it's still technically 4 versus 4, so like the odds are kind of even still with the Redemple Temple thing, but yeah, I don't even know. I want to say me as well, but I don't know how comp wins are going to go and who's going to start turning on it. Andrew keeps saying people are saying it's too soon, but I don't think it's too soon. I don't know what's happening.
Girl, it's going to be over in a month. Like,
Yeah,
do something. And I guess people did something by voting me out. Not everyone will agree with that, but do something. If those are my last words in this game, it's do something. To quote Britney Spears, why don't you do something?
You want a Maserati? You better do something.
I also want a hot body. You know,
Do you have any other thoughts to share? It's been a pleasure seeing you both.
Likewise. Finally, we've made our reality realness debut. There was one kind of like I shared one piece of information with somebody on my way out the door. Oh, I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but you kind of already alluded to it earlier about the nomination. So
did I?
Yeah, so you can, I don't know, if you want to.
He's the devil on your shoulder. Yeah, do it. Just do it.
Well, okay, I'm not usually this messy, but I already told the person about this, so I might as well just say it in the interview. But this was before I was voted out, but when I knew that I was getting voted out, I decided to let Curtis know, since Nicole was so kind to be the HOH that got me out, and because clearly Nicole, everyone knows Nicole, Curtis, and Brazil are a strong trio. So I decided to let Curtis know that back when he was on the block with Chanel, Nicole was trying all day to get me to switch my vote and vote out Curtis. So I decided to let him know that. So I don't know, like it's his call if he wants to trust Nicole that much. And it really hurts my heart because like leading up to this week, I like Nicole was like my new best friend. Like I really, really liked her. We talked so much. We had a lot in common. We just gelled. Yeah. And then I think she's been doing a wonderful job at playing Brazil's game. An absolutely wonderful job at playing Brazil.
So I have to agree. That's the thing. I said we're wondering whether or not like big moves will be made. I think we'll see this week. If they just vote out Rhonda, then it's just a prolonged thing of them staying together. But as of right now, it's interesting to see with just who's left in the game that if Curtis, Brazil, and Nicole are this threesome, that as of right now, in my opinion, like you said, Nicole, I think Curtis and Nicole are playing Brazil's game at this point. And so it's up to them if they want to continue going down that route. And it's also interesting to see, like, with Jonathan flipping on you last week, is he going to turn on Chantel and Joseph? Is like, where does he stand with that? Because as of right now, in my opinion, Jonathan's batting for second, because if he's turned on you and he turns on them, he's just flicking jury members off that voting list. I wouldn't be surprised if it's unanimous the other way. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this week, because I think it's going to dictate a lot of the rest of the game.
I mean, to that point, I also feel that getting rid of Aton was a big move. So, like, I think it is a big move, but I also don't think
0 comp wins. Like, oh, like,
yeah, I don't think she maybe knew it was a big move at the time of trying to do it or doing it, but I think it still was a big move just because you're good with words, and if you do make it to the final 2, I think you have a shot. Based on, like, there's still a lot of game left. So I agree with you though, mostly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's all. I think I've said a lot.
I look forward to seeing what you still have to do in this game, and I know your jury question, if you don't make it back in, will be awesome, and I can't wait to hear that too. So
this has been such a blast.
Likewise,
Thank
agreed.
you so much for coming on. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad to finally meet you.
Likewise. All right.
Well, thank you. And if you ever want to talk again, I mean, I love that message of like, I'm going to be sassy on Thursday or whatever it was when we talk. I was looking.
That was in the height of my that was in the height of my rage. It's subsided. I still was messy, but it could have been. Trust me, could have been worse.
I said I was bringing a mop to clean up all the tea that was going to be on the ground afterwards, and I'm glad I brought the mop. So. Thank you so much for coming on. If you ever want to chat again, let us know, and we will be happy to. So
great.
Right.
Nice seeing you guys. Bye, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin.
Oh, that was everything I thought it was going to be. Knowing Aton, I knew it was going to be good. So.
That was really sad, but I think it's been my favorite interview yet.
Mm-hmm. And if that fire wasn't lit before, or he wish he would have played hard, like there's no not playing hard option for him. This happened like in season 1 when we played the Backyard Big Brother together. He day 1 didn't win anything, was nominated, was feeling really vulnerable, and then day 2 just crushed. I think if there were 8 competitions on day 2, I think he probably won like 6 of them. Like he just was unevictable. Yeah, he was like a force. So when you picked him, I was like, oh, he has the capability to do that. And it was a wide range of like mental, physical, all the kinds of comps. So I was like, you made a good first pick. The lack of comp wins, I was like, okay. I mean, I threw some, I'm sure everyone always throws some comps along the way. You can't win everything, and as soon as you do, it's a recipe to leave anyway. So throwing is normal and good. The virus thing was the main issue or a concern I had with his game or how it was going. But I think he did a good job explaining why, and like it makes sense to me now. So.
Yeah, I did get it. I still think that probably hurt him more than it helped him in the end. But
yeah, I think the winning early when you're good with everyone, you just have to start to triage who you're less good with. And while it does alienate you from the people you put up or that group of people, it makes it stronger with the ones you defend or you maybe go to bat for. So it is dicey, but I think he was right. In saying that as long as he didn't win it, he was probably not going to touch the block for a long time.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I think that's true. And it was true. But I think the fact that it was such a public decision and a public begging to not have the HOH was the downfall. If it was done like kind of in secret or whatever, and then it was able to go under the rug a bit, I think it would have been a great move.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to remember exactly how it became public though. I think that was between the fact that like Curtis had, I guess he must have said something to Andrew, and then I think
it could even just that I said it last time I think, but that winning that competition takes a village. Like you're having contact, you're having conversations with people you aren't even aligned with to figure out some things. Like you're doing everything in that comp that it's kind of everyone kind of knows what's going on, and you just wait to get the little pieces of information. So I think no matter what, it would have gotten out in some way, but I don't know the exact way it did. Either way, it did get out, and Andrew made sure to say it as well. But I mean, Yeah.
That was the part I was just trying to remember. Was it that Andrew had said it on the air because multiple people had said it to Andrew, or was it when we did the interview with Chantal at that point? Because that was when she was evicted. I
Yeah, it
actually
would have been
remember,
shortly after then. So
but I know that Eitan was not happy about the fact that it was public knowledge.
yeah. Uh, Either way, that's part of how it went down. But let's talk about this week. So the HOH comp
That was the girl or boy questionnaire survey,
survey,
right?
which I think had enough skill to it. But again, that one takes a village as well. You have everyone trading surveys. We had everyone's survey, I think, when we were
At
doing
one
these, and
point, we had a couple
some of them
fake.
were lied
Yeah,
to for sure.
yeah.
But
I think I
everyone did
had,
really well in that comp and got a lot of right answers. So that one is on the skill side. I don't remember how many Aton got right in that one, but it seemed very close
I'm not sure,
regardless.
but it came down to Curtis and Brazil, was it? I think at the end.
I think. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it was. Yeah, it was like 20 or 19 and 18, I think, between Curtis and then Brazil, respectively. And in the end, yes, that one was skill based, but I think everyone knew the Emerald was in play and it was very likely to come out.
yeah.
Much like it did in season 4, right after the double. It's kind of a thing. Like I think the Emerald came out randomly. It could have came out week one or week one when the Amethyst came out or the Ruby or whatever it could have been. But the fact that it came out right at that time, right in the double, like it was just very similar to season 4 in that way.
Perfect
But
time anyway, yes.
yeah. So any skill that was taken out of anyone having control over their competition win was thrown out to the random gods. Um, and then it landed in Nicole's hand, which Aton said he thinks it didn't matter because no matter what, they would have done the same thing. But
Yeah.
I don't know that they would have. And I think had Curtis actually had the power, different conversations might have happened than the ones that happened since Nicole had the power. You can assume it would have been the same, but you never know.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if it was very different, but yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, like you said, different conversations come out depending on who's HOH, so
Hmm.
who knows?
One thing I didn't ask Aton, I think he might have clarified, was that he said like when Nicole got the HOH to be like, "Hey, are you good?" Was it like immediately? So she was kind of just like, yeah, sure," because I don't know yet, or was
Yeah.
it a little later on when she had time to think about it, and it was just a "I'm good" kind of like lie, like a straight up lie, or was it maybe she didn't know, so she just
Um,
said something vague? I don't know.
Well, he had said it was on like the first day, and then the
Like the day
second
that it
day,
was won.
yeah, and then the
Okay.
second day she then nominated him, right? Because you only
Hmm.
have like a day in between, right?
I think so, yeah. I think
Yeah,
you win the day before the episode airs, and by that night, the next day at 10, you have to name your noms. I
yeah,
think by this point, people already have an idea of who they're going to nominate, anyways. It
yes.
was immediately. Thank you, Nicole. Okay, so I mean, yeah. So immediately, I don't know if it was her trying to boldly lie and deceive, or was it kind of like I'm up in the air. I'm just gonna not answer you because that looks shady. I don't know, but we will
Yeah.
find out eventually before this is all over.
Also, the other option is maybe she did genuinely think he was going to be fine, and then conversations happen, and it was like, yeah, if I'm gonna stick to the game plan, then this is really my only plan of
Hmm.
action, even though that might not have been what she wanted.
Yeah, power is in our group. So our group, what is best for the group, and Nicole's just kind of the figurehead at that point. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But yeah, so the noms come out.
And
Oh,
yeah. Oh, Nicole says I was asked immediately after I won the same
so
in the
might have
same.
him congratulate.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, so then later in the week we had the veto wheel spin again, and it was between fast forward and I didn't write down the.
the oh my God, why am I blanking? The sapphire, the
That's it.
sapphire. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that one was labeled onto this veto. So I don't think anyone was throwing a veto. When you can get the sapphire veto this late in the game, where you can basically just nullify or infer something to go your way or to
yeah,
undo a move you don't like. No one was throwing that competition. And I think, yes, it was luck. It had cards. It was ballsy blackjack, but the games kind of changed. We had that poker hand
yeah.
one, which I really liked that competition, even though I wasn't playing. I really liked that competition because it was, yeah, I love cards and it was very strategic. And I think this one still had a good amount of strategy changing up the games, picking your opponent's hand, passing cards around, trying to make people go over a certain amount. Like I think that was really, it was an upgrade or at least a shift from how it was in previous seasons, and I think it was really well done.
Yeah, it was very entertaining to watch. So I give that to Andrew. Like that was a really fun episode for me to watch.
Good.
I kind of
Yeah.
wondered though, because that was the one where he changed the rules where like they were not allowed to speak to anyone, right? Like this had to be played like 100% on their own.
He said that for the past few. It's been like you like I know this last HOH and that like don't talk to anyone. You can't use your things. Who wants to cheat? I know he's mentioned a few episodes. Who wants to be known as the cheater who is eating cheesecake because they
Yeah.
cheated? But yeah, you might be right. I don't remember the exact details on that. But yeah, I think
My question to Andrew would have been, was that because he's still convinced that you won poker for me?
I mean, I had cards out and we were on the phone doing poker together, but you
I
did.
won the first round by myself, and
I was asleep when you started. Yeah, I
I
didn't
also knew what the cards were going to be that I was playing. You were just doing like a double check, like make sure there was no better.
Yeah, I was your assistant or your secretary, keeping things in order and being like, I'm pretty sure. And then you're like, no, they use their 8. I'm like, oh, yep. And like you corrected me, so no, you definitely won that on your own, and I wanted to
fighting that one.
Yeah,
because Andrew was so convinced to the point that he was like, "Nice play, Nick."
he said he said in the episode, I remember.
So when I saw him say the rules about like, I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but like there was no communication was allowed in private chats or something. And I was like, I wonder if that was because of Nick and I.
I mean, it could have been like he's trying to simulate a casino where you aren't going to be like, ooh, yeah, and like all the chitter chatter. People kind of keep, even if you're playing with your friend at the same table, you kind of just out of respect, you kind of keep to yourself. So I imagine the house guests did that if that was the rule put in place, and I'm sure, yeah. It was came down to Chantal and Brazil.
Yep.
I think they were probably both fighting for it, even just for the fact that it was for the Sapphire veto. But then Brazil wins in the end. Do
Nothing.
you think? Do you think Aton could have done more to get the veto used on him, or do you think it was signed, done? Like it's there's no hope.
When it was Brazil who won, I mean, I didn't expect anything to change. Maybe if Chantal had won, I don't know. Like as we know, they're friends, so maybe things could have been different had it been a different winner. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think
with Nicole,
the stakes are high at that point. If you are, A10 said he wasn't really in any main alliance or any major thing. If someone in an alliance uses a veto against Nicole at the HOH's wishes, she could just easily throw one of your allies up there, and then who knows where the votes would go, kind of thing. So I think no matter which one of them won, it could have been dicey. But I think A10's also very convincing, and he could have made some deals or some pleas and maybe skated through. But yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, well, but it came down to he got to Redemple Temple, he did the duel and beat Chad.
But 3-2, like the fact that you got 3-2 for the votes, you just needed one more. Like maybe had the veto been used, and it could have been beneficial. But then Rhonda or the other person would have gone. I don't know. I still think Rhonda would have stayed. I was saying it last time. She has a poop brown veto. You keep that person in the game. That's someone taking up one of the chairs at the end of next week. That's almost like a half of a fast forward. Of course you're going to keep that. And you still have the chances to win the comps next week to like HOH and veto to stay safe for that one nom chair. That's huge. Like you have to keep that in the game. So I think it was Aton being on the wrong side of someone with the poop round veto. I know we look at it like a curse, but it's kind of like a safety net for a few weeks when you have it. And now this week where it has to be used, I'm sure Rhonda's sweating a little bit in that way.
Yeah. I mean, I still stand by, like, if you have close enough alliances, it doesn't matter who you're up against. They're going to want to keep you if you are the best person for them to keep in the game. But I guess, yeah, he just wasn't, like, he was good with everybody, but just wasn't close enough to be able to supersede the poo.
Yeah. Agreed. Man, it's good though.
Yeah. And this week will be interesting.
So we already know HOH. We know who won Redemple Temple, and that's all we know so far. But we can always talk about that later.
Yeah. Let's talk about the HOH. We'll do that next week when we've got a new evictee to talk to.
I will say, foreshadowing, in a foreshadowing kind of way, the fact that the Pooh Brown veto is giving so much predictability to the week, but the Sapphire veto is giving so much chaos and who knows. I think there's going to be a lot of nominees because like someone has to come down because the Pooh, and if a veto is used, it can be unused, or if it's not used, it can be forced to be used. It's going to be a bit of a math problem to get through this week. So I'm really interested to see how it plays out too.
Yeah, I would not want to be HOH this week.
I mean, it's guaranteed safety. You got to look at it that way at this point because as you get down to top 6, top 7, top 5, whatever, you
True.
just that's one more step towards getting closer to the end. So
Yeah.
Well, this is lovely as always, Lindsay. I look forward to this every week. And
Me too.
yeah, everyone, like it says on the banner below, follow us, ring the bell, like, get notifications, help the channel grow, and keep following us weekly as we wrap up the last 6 weeks, I think, of the show. It's gonna only get better from here. So stay tuned. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you next time.